Alright, I'm about to review another video I can't say the name of because I don't want YouTube to delete it because they're fucking pricks. But alright, I'll leave the link in the description if I remember because I'm pretty fucking ripped right now. Oops.
Unacceptable, especially as a man. You don't get the privilege of selling feet fucking pictures and being on OnlyFans or having someone take care of you. Like I always say, men live a fact-based reality, which means performance is on you.
I'm not going to argue with anything he said. All I'm going to say is that he buys his pussy off of Seeking Arrangement and he pays his guests to be on his show. Myron Gaines, if you don't know who I'm talking about.
Why can't everyone feel like a 10?
Everyone has flaws though, so nobody's perfect.
We're looking at a number scale now.
Just based on results.
Your
Results.
outcome.
Well, what sort of results? Like how many people?
I am 41 years old. I will be 42 in August. And I would, at best, rate myself a 5 out of 10. Maybe if you go back 20 years when I was a teenager in my very early 20s, maybe I could have pulled it myself in as a 10 because I'm not the best looking guy that ever lived, but I'm decent. And I think I'm a decent enough looking guy to say that I could have been a 10 in college. Point is, if I can have realistic standards, why can't 300-pound women with 6 layers of makeup have realistic standards?
Am I fucking?
Even ugly girls can get laid. The real question for women is, how many guys want to marry you?
4 to 5 divorces originate from women. Women get incredibly bored a lot faster in long-term relationships and marriages than men.
That's interesting because I always thought men are the problem. Let's fix this up a little bit. Ugh. Still recovering from shoulder surgery. Goddamn thing split open. It looked like a fucking baked potato. Added 5 more weeks to my recovery. All right, anyway, where are we?
And men, it kind of like goes a little slow over time. Women, it's like, I do, honeymoon phase, boom, couple kids, boom, right? So you just have to understand that's a propensity of the way things usually go. 90% of alimony flows to women. 80% of custody orders are awarded to mothers. There is zero incentive in family law, the way that it's written throughout most of the Western world, for women to behave well in a divorce.
Men don't get married anymore because we have absolutely no incentive whatsoever to do it because, one, birthing people have become insufferable. 2, they have nothing to offer at all, and I'm dead serious when I say that because even if you talk about pussy, all you have to do is say that you regret fucking me and I can go to prison. So you don't even have that to offer anymore. So why the fuck would we get married? Just to marry a worthless person who's going to destroy our life in divorce court on purpose because she's incentivized to do it?
50% of first marriages fail, 75% of second marriages. I don't know about you guys, but I wouldn't get in a plane with a parachute if they said, well, there's about half a chance this parachute's going to open. How can you?
Well, yeah, but Rich Cooper is married, so taketh with a graineth.
Minimize those risks? I know a lot of guys want to reproduce, they want to have kids, they want to leave a genetic legacy. I get it. She has to enter your frame and you must control it.
The reason I resent feminists so much is because they destroyed Western civilization for no fucking reason, and because the only reason billions of men have for living on this earth is to raise families, and you decided for us that we didn't deserve to have it. Then, you know what? Fuck you.
No one has seen more men break down in tears while their kids get taken away, equity in their home, their retirement, their pension gets stolen. They have so much to lose. Women don't have these things to lose.
Yeah, they do. Can you say that a woman doesn't have equity in a house to
I
lose?
can say that
because you get everything in the divorce.
Because I've been practicing for 20 years.
But I know, but...
Listen, there are the LeBron James of women, but I'm not talking about these special cases. I'm talking about in general.
Nobody tells you about divorce, the brutal truth. A man no longer offers access to provisions of protection after a divorce. A woman no longer offers access to loyalty, appreciation, and respect after a divorce. During separation, up until divorce, and long after, a woman completely shuts off access. She has expired her duty and contributions to the union. A man cannot shut off access. His duty remains consistent. He does not get to expire his contributions. During separation and divorce proceedings, a woman will strip you of your assets and children, have another man occupying your side of the bed, and time with your children while you're paying the rent and utilities, including the apartment you have to stay in during the process. More often than not, attorneys will persuade men to stand down and dowling for joint custody due to the unfair court system. And more often than not, you'll be paying for her attorney fees. And if you had a lengthy marriage, you'll be paying alimony. So when it's all said and done, you'll be funding her lifestyle with someone else, and your children will be weaponized against you. So let's stop questioning men who'd rather exercise their options or promote premarital agreements.
Toxic masculinity? Ugh.
You know what you hear from a lot of women that are post-divorce? My husband was a workaholic.
We can either spend time with you or we can make money for you to spend. We can't always do both.
Just dove into his work and he put blinders on to the rest of the world around him. It was all about his work. I couldn't get him to do much of anything else. He was at the office for long hours. When he was home, he went to his home office. He was on his phone all the time, tapping away, messaging, trying to get that next big deal. And the woman feels.
Yeah, that's because we know that you'll fuck the pool boy if we don't make money that you find sufficient.
Feels neglected, understandably. From one self-professed workaholic, let me give you a different perspective on this. And this does not apply to every situation, so don't go there, okay? Now, I'm just saying that this is common enough that I hear this from a lot of guys that I talk to. dadstartingover.com, we have one-on-one coaching. The man is this super successful salesman type dude, right? And he works really, really hard. He's pounding the streets, he's hitting the phones, and he lands a big deal. And it gets him a big $10,000 commission, and which leads to another deal, which leads to another deal. And he's getting a lot of pats on the back. And the boss is calling him in the office and saying, you know, you keep this up, you're up for the VP of sales job. I'm telling you, man, in just a few short years, the job is yours. Keep it up. And people are coming to him asking for help, mentorship. It's really boosting his ego. It's really validating him, making him feel like $1 million.
That, aside from a nuclear family that isn't totally dysfunctional, is what we live for. Money would be worthless if women didn't exist.
He is rewarded. He puts in his time, he puts in the effort, he does the right thing, and the office rewards him with money, status. Status is huge to men. Can't overemphasize that. And then the dude comes home and he walks in the door. Honey, you won't believe what the boss said to me. He called me in his office and the wife cuts him off and says, remember yesterday when I said, could you take that one thing outside out of the garage? You forgot to do it. And the guy goes, oh, shit, I'm sorry. I'll do that here in a second. But guess what the boss said? The boss said that. She goes, why is it you always discount everything that I say? I asked.
See, for those of you who think that feminism is the bee's knees and that it's done nothing but good for society, I used to be blue pill, and so did millions of other men who are now no longer blue pill. And when we were blue pill, all we ever noticed was that the guys who were treating women like dirt were the ones that were getting all the pussy. And after a while, it's like, so I have to treat you like dirt just to have sex with you? How am I going to have to treat you if I want to get married? And there's another reason why we don't get married. Because we don't want to be those guys, but you force us to be those guys, and then you tell us that the blue pill guys that you have in the friend zone are the guys you really want. It's enough to drive men fucking insane. And that's why sometimes you read stories in the news about murder-suicides that never had to happen. I would have loved to live my entire life a blue pill guy, but the more times you get kicked in the face by that, the less you want to get kicked in the face by that. It's fucking bullshit, but that's the way it is. So don't talk to me about how masculinity is the problem, because it's absolutely not. You wouldn't even recognize this guy 15 years ago, because I was like all those blue pill guys. I never considered myself a feminist, because I'm not retarded, but I lean more towards on doing whatever I had to favor women, which is another reason why being a single mother is nothing but all you're doing is destroying your kid's life.
One thing of you, and you can't do it. And the guy slumps his shoulders, hangs his head, and goes, I'll do it right now. And he takes the thing outside, and he comes back inside, and the wife says, and the trash. You forgot that too. I can't do everything around here. Understood. I got it. Cool. And he takes the trash out. And he comes back in, and the wife says, "Did you check your son's grades? Do you even know what's going on with school?" And the tone is basically from the wife. The tone is, you've been gone doing all this job stuff. You're leaving me here with all the responsibilities of the home stuff. It's not fair. I feel overwhelmed as a woman. I feel like all the responsibilities on my shoulders, and this isn't really fair. And the guy's like, okay, well, maybe she has a point. I'll chip in a little harder.
No, she doesn't
I'll do
have
a
a
little more
point
work around the house
at all.
Do more things to help out with the family and the kids. So basically, the tone at home is one of, I'm not doing enough. I'm not good enough. I could do better. And then he goes back to work.
Did it excuse me? Did it ever occur to any of you birthing people that perhaps traditionalism survived for as long as it did because, I don't know, that's the kind that worked?
The next day, and guess what he gets? More pats on the back. More attaboys. Prospective customer that he's been working on for weeks and weeks says, I'm ready to do that deal. This is a $20,000 commission for him. Holy shit, he can't wait to go home and tell his wife. The cute little receptionist from downstairs says, hey, you're looking really handsome in that shirt today, mister. He's like, things are just clicking for him. This is awesome. Then he goes home. Honey, guess what I did? And she goes, before you get started, and she lays into him again.
This is an unnecessarily long-winded way of telling men not to tolerate bullshit from women, so I'm just going to skip past it.
When they need soldiers to go die in a war, when they need firemen to charge into a burning building, when they need police officers to save children, when they need real men to go do real things, then they call on the men like me and the men who think like me. Then they want the men who are brave, who are masculine, who have tenets of masculinity, who have honor, who have duty. Then they want us. But as soon as they don't want us to go risk our lives to protect them, they say we're not allowed opinion, we're not allowed to think, we're not allowed to talk, we should be depersoned and delivered.
Enjoy the implosion, because if I'm around long enough to see it in its entirety, I'm going to cackle like a schoolgirl.
Women will sacrifice for their own happiness.
Women don't sacrifice shit anymore, and that's the problem. The only women in America or in Western civilization in general that make sacrifices are traditional women. And those women are the princesses and the queens, because princesses and queens are supposed to be nearly impossible to find. So all of you non-traditional women, congratulations on your promotion at Circle K, but I don't fucking care.
Comes to being in a relationship, men are the ones that make sacrifices for their family.
And I only know about Circle K because I lived in Southwest Florida for a year, and that's what one of their gas station chains are called. Very troubling year. Very, very free though, and helped me recharge my batteries.
Women are the ones that make sacrifices for their own happiness. They will always put themselves first in any relationship that they're in. They always think about them and what makes them happy. You always hear a woman say she's doing what's best for her. You don't ever hear her say, I'm doing what's best for the family. I'm doing what's best for me and my man. You don't hear a lot of women say that, because you have a lot of women that are selfish and only think about themselves. You have to pay attention to these type of signs when you're dealing with a woman like this. Because let me tell you, the more you get involved with her and the more you invest into her, she's going to soon end up walking away from this relationship. So when she leaves, she's make sure she is good.
So why are we getting married again?
Women always have an exit plan when they're in a relationship. And I don't think a lot of men realize this. Just know, if you mess up in any kind of way, where she feel like this is not working for her, just know she plans to leave you for her own happiness.
And she already has somebody in the waiting. Orbiters.
I don't even think women really know what makes them happy. So many
men did. Men do. And feminists decided to completely dismantle that because they're fat, ugly cunts that nobody wants to marry. And for some reason, people took those women seriously instead of paying attention to what men said or, the entire atmosphere around you. Not that I'm bitter or anything.
Men are left because women decide to leave for their own happiness because they don't want to be in a relationship anymore. They want to end up doing exactly what they want to do. And most women are like this. They are too focused on doing what they want to do. They see what their friends do and they see what is on social media, so they want to live that life. And the moment that they leave this relationship, most of them are miserable to this day and they still haven't found a man because they ended up.
It's almost like starting an OnlyFans account is a really, 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 really stupid fucking idea.
Because they ended up leaving a good man for their own happiness.
Never show your girl that you are jealous. Guys, when you get jealous, that's you letting your girl know that there's somebody better than you who could come take her. If you never get phased, you never get jealous, she's going to be like, damn, this guy really is the man. He has nothing to worry about. Boom, she's instantly more attracted to you.
Early 20s right now, if you got a guy who's like 35, 36, 37, I don't know. Just remember, there's a reason girls his age aren't with him.
All right, so let's get into this one. So just for context, she made a video talking about how she used to date a guy in his mid-30s when she was like 23 or 24. And the things that attracted him to her, such as knowing wines and different things that come with age, is pretty much the only thing that this guy had to offer. And that is why he can't find a girl his own age. So I don't know how many times this topic needs.
Most men don't date women our own age because we are neither cargo ships nor have the desire to be them.
Needs to come up for girls for us to explain the same thing over and over again. It is very normal for a guy, no matter what age he is, to like younger women. And by younger women, I'm clarifying, I mean adult younger women. I'm not trying to get Chris Hansen over here.
For the sake of objectivity, I would say if you're smart and you're traditional, you will find a guy between the ages of 33 and older to have a relationship with. Because unless a man in his 20s is extraordinarily mature for his age, you probably shouldn't marry him. And while we're on the subject of this, the reason why women used to tell their daughters to find a good man as young as you possibly could and as young as he possibly could be is because they understood that once we get in our 30s, we get sick of your bullshit and start second guessing marriage. But if you can hook us in our 20s when our testosterone is at its peak, it'll be a lot easier to get us to put rings on your fingers. That's why they used to tell that, not because of toxic masculinity or traditionalism being bad or whatever the fuck excuses these whores use.
There's one article talking about how guys like women in their early 20s regardless of how old they get. Here's a little chart that shows that even as they age all the way up to 50, 60 years old, it stays in the same range, 20 to 22 years old.
That's because we're not cargo ships.
Just in case you don't like that article, there's like 7 more, but here's another one. What I notice a lot is women when they are younger, 18 to 23, 24 years old, it's not so much that you don't realize the things that you're realizing when you're in your late 20s. It's that at that point in your lives, you reap all the benefits of the things that you're just going to complain about in 5, 6 years. So saying statements like, oh, there's a reason why he can't get a girl his own age, I don't think they realize like how dumb.
It's not that we can't.
That is. Why would a 35-year-old male prefer being with another 35 to 40-year-old female if he is able to get more attractive younger girls who are probably...
Let's say I want to have kids because I could probably have them for another 20 years. Why would I want to try to have kids with a woman who no longer has any eggs or has so few eggs that my kid will most likely be autistic or retarded, or even if that's just to assume that she can even conceive. It's just to assume that she can even conceive, because I'm not doing this in vitro fertilization or freezing egg shit, because when you freeze your eggs, all you're saying is that my kids are fashion accessories and nothing besides that, and that's bullshit.
going to have a lot less problems than somebody who is still single at 35 or 40 years old. And let's even take the superficiality of just looks out of the equation.
It's
If a
not
woman
always
is
about
single
looks.
in her mid-30s, it is very likely she probably already has had a child, because the average age a woman has a kid is around 26 years old. And if you're a man who does not want children, or you just don't want to deal with having to raise another child, you can see why maybe going for somebody else.
If you want men to start being blue-pilled simps again that will do anything you say whenever you tell them to say it, stop taking feminism seriously.
Is a little enticing. And even putting that aside, the average age of the first divorce is around 30 years old. You're probably dealing with somebody who's been divorced, may or may not have a child, and even if they have none of those, you can equally say the same thing about a woman who is still single at 35. What is the reason she is still single? Why can she not attract anybody else her own age? But a lot of women try to twist it in this weird, uncomfortable, gross way that biologically all men have always liked 20 to 22-year-old women. At the end of the day, these women are adults. To try to spin it in some kind of way that they are not that.
If you're older than 23, then you're not for me. In the context of if I was ever insane enough to get married.
To me, it just looks like you guys are upset that you don't get the benefits of your age anymore, and then try to patronize men for something that they honestly can't help. Same reason biologically girls like taller guys or more muscular guys. It's biological. No need to make it any deeper than what it is. I can guarantee you it wasn't because other 35-year-old women didn't want to be with him. It was probably the other way around.
Angry men aren't the problem, because feminists are the ones who make us angry. Man, where's a dead horse when you need one? Anyway.
Sometimes a woman can talk her out of a relationship. You can talk. We do that.
Yes,
we will talk.
I'm gonna say something, and this might ruffle little feathers. I don't think just being a good man is enough. To be.
You heard that, right? And then you wonder where all the good men went. I'm too old for this shit. Oof.
To stay in a relationship with them.
But when I say a good man, I mean like he's good all. That means all around. That means himself, spiritually, mentally.
And this is a woman who weighs easily 160 pounds and probably is barely 5 feet tall.
Physically,
that's great.
Totally, like he's a good man.
That doesn't mean that he's the man for you. And maybe when you're going through these motions of getting to know him, you're realizing, okay, he's a great person, but honestly, I don't fuck with his humor. Like he could be funny, but
that's why a lot of modern women are getting 40 with 4 cats and no man, because he's a good man, but because he's not funny, you gotta throw that out.
Exactly.
Whoever said that the streets were fun, I'm just gonna go back to the streets, they're lying.
If you go back to the streets, if you go to the streets in the first place, then you might as well stay there. Because the only guy who's willing to marry a woman from the streets is a simp, and you don't want to marry simps. But you want guys to be good guys. But you don't want to marry simps. But you want guys to be good guys. But you don't want to marry simps.
No one should be playing in the streets. It's not safe.
The streets aren't what people think. I may piss some people off in the video, but the reality is, I've worked in clubs and bars. You know what's populating them? Discarded people. People that no one wants. People that aren't good in relationships. People that are miserable to be around. You know, I'm speaking to the fellas, understand this. There's a reason that beautiful woman that you can't keep your eyes off is fucking here right now. How come she's not at home? How come she hasn't signed a lease with some dude and they're not happy? You know, celebrating their 2-year anniversary. Either she is a catch and she's recently...
When I was in high school and grade school, I thought going to bars when I got older would be a responsible way to find a wife. And then I got to college.
broken up with, but she's a good person and she's just like looking for something real. But all women think that they fall in that category. And all men think they fall in that category too. I'll be a great boyfriend, bro. No, you're a piece of shit. So that's what's out here. This woman is here for a reason because, yes, she is beautiful. She has no problem attracting men. But the problem is she can't keep a man around because once they realize who she really is, they can't fucking stand her. And she now knows this because she has failed the past 5, 6 talking stages of relationships.
Never will I ever pay full price for a used car, especially if that used car has more miles on it than it could ever possibly be worth.
And now she's like, okay, am I the problem? Yeah, you are. She's come to the realization and she's here shoveling drinks down her throat because she's fucking miserable because no one wants her. Okay, and the struggle that women have and going to these, places, bars and clubs and shit like that, is women don't know who's genuine. Women don't know, like, okay, do you mean all this shit or you just want to fuck me a bunch? And so
they know the difference. They just pretend that they don't because they don't like taking responsibility for themselves or their actions.
They struggle, and sometimes they don't often believe that this guy is what he says he is. So they just have to spin the wheel, hope for the best, because there'll never be a shortage of men going after women. But that's what's out here for them. Okay, so when you go out here, and especially if you're in a relationship and you have your single friends glorifying the single world, there's no connection out here. People are just fucking because they don't want to be alone.
Assuming you even watch this video, the one thing I want you to take from it is something I can't remember. That sucks.
Okay, but they're waiting to find some. It's like the Wild Wild West in the single world. People are waiting to find.
Oh, okay.